I will sew myself black trousers from the velvet of my voice, and from 3 yards of sunset, a yellow blouse. Along the world's main street, along its glossy lanes, I will saunter with the gait of Don Juan, a fop. Let the earth, overripe and placid, cry out, "You will take the green spring." I will yell at the sun with an impudent grin, "I prefer to prance on smooth asphalt." Isn't it because the sky is blue and the earth is my lover in this spring cleaning that I give you verses fun as bee, ba, bow, yet sharp and useful as toothpicks? Women who love my flesh and you looking at me like a brother, tossing me your smiles to the poet, and I'll sew them like flowers into my fop's blouse. Prided for his harshness and honesty in revolutionary Moscow, Mayakovsky created a name for himself, speaking on a subject he thought to be detrimental to the Soviet Union. He attacked the perceived capitalist degradation of the female form, destruction of the language, but most importantly, he criticized a lack of communication. What Mayakovsky has done in this poem is construct a conceit, comparing the structural integrity of a piece of clothing to the integrity of communication. He offers the image of a fop's blouse, a beautiful garment, covered in flowers and the like, but not well constructed. While the cloth may be beautiful, upon closer inspection, the stitching is all but coming undone. When reading this poem, I wondered what our class's patchwork would look like. Would it be the strong velvet of Mayakovsky's own words, or would it be a quilt almost in pieces? I think we would all be obliged to admit that it is the latter. This is not to say that each of the class does not present a talent, does not have some skill that sets us apart, but 44 beautiful and well-constructed patches that happen to be the same area do not make a quilt, no matter how many years they've spent together. We very often complain that Dawson is a small place. Each of us longs for larger circles, broader social horizons, and grander happenings, but has there not been opportunity around us? When we consider how few each of us really talk to on a monthly basis, it may be depressing to think of how many more we could have enjoyed. There have been opportunities here that we have not accessed, you see. The social horizon is fading around us, but we prefer to comment on its movement. When the underclassmen of our school look up to us as seniors, I suspect they will admire our academic achievement, our athletic endeavor, and even our successful increase of school spirit. What I fear they will also take away, though, is the way we have chosen to communicate. I am not referring to the usual whispering of rumors, the chitter-chatter of people our age is to be expected. What I'm referring to is our refusal to balance this sort of inevitable prattle with genuine dialogue. Without balance, we will be unable to sew the necessary stitches into our quilt. The oddest part about this, however, is not that people can be less than wholehearted. It is that we refuse to acknowledge how this careless chatter affects our friends. We first speak about how few acquaintances are available. We ignore the possibilities to expand our circle, and then impair the relations we have with these scant commodities. I have no intention today to speak for 10 minutes about how we should all care more deeply for one another, because I think we can all agree that for such a speech, you picked the wrong speaker. What I am trying to do is address the challenge of our age. I had a word with Dr. Weeks the other day about graduation, and she said one of the most interesting graduation speeches she knew of was given to the Yale class of 1939. It spoke about courage in the face of darkness, what would be required of young Americans in the 40s, and what the world held in store. This was just 4 months before Germany was to invade Poland. Granted, what we will face in our youth will not be the raising of flags in Iwo Jima, or sit-ins for peace, or charging trenches in the sand and slog. The world's challenge for the class of 2012 is a far more social struggle. The stitching between our patches is communication, and in an age of overconnectedness, it seems true that genuine connection is a rarity. It was once hard to join social circles when friends formed cliques, but I wonder how much more difficult it is now that cliques form friends. I hope I did not seem overly pessimistic before. The way we interact works. It leaves everyone with a group of friends that interact in a way that allows individuals to support one another. But as that perception becomes increasingly based on tagged photos and how quickly someone responds to the vibration in their pocket, I wonder how long these fleeting face-to-face encounters can sustain us. What our generation must consider is that the time we spend devoid of iPhones, iMacs, and iPods will be wasted if it is not accompanied by eye contact. The advantage of our predecessors is that they have worked together effectively. Our disadvantage is that we spend so much time posting, chatting, and tweeting, it may be difficult to actually communicate. The digital age has taken from us the love letter and the board meeting. We cannot also allow it to take what has made us human. Ronald Reagan once warned the American people that freedom is not passed in our blood, but consider the implications of how fundamental humanity can be lost along with our freedom. Millions of years of evolution have provided us with brains able to speak and talk and love. These 100 trillion synapses do not come with a manual. We learn how to use them by being around others, not glancing at our screens, but by feeling and communicating. I suggest you look around at people you care about. Does it not feel good to know them? Does it not feel good to know them in more than 140 characters allows? Further hunching and computer withdrawal are not the path out of isolation, and they are not the path through our generation's struggles. Progress in which we lose our humanity is no progress at all. We must remain human, you see, and to remain human, we must remain together. The fop's blouse has hundreds of likes, I'm sure, but the stitching is fragile. A sturdy quilt must begin with sturdy patches, and that you all have certainly provided. To stand against the tide of misguided progress is a daunting feat, but so too is Mr. Angus's final freshman year. And so too is putting ourselves on a piece of paper and letting strangers decide where we spend 4 years. And so too is becoming who we are. You will all remember that when I came to this school, I was very different than I am today, and each of you played a role in that becoming. It is for that reason that I am speaking honestly today. You all told me exactly what you thought in an effort to better prepare me for survival at Dawson. I am now in return telling you what I think is essential for survival beyond Dawson. Each of us brings something the others do not. Each of us is weaker with the loss of one. I only hope that our stitching can remain strong for the journey ahead. Class of 2012, thank you for the home, thank you for the aid, but mainly thank you for the inspiration.